Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim warned against attempts by other countries to block China's military and economic rise in the Asia-Pacific region. Beijing would see attempts to curb its military and economic expansion as a denial of its legitimate place in history. The obstacles that have been placed against China's economic and technological advancement will only further accentuate such grievances, Anwar Ibrahim said. To gain a clear understanding of what the Malaysian Prime Minister is addressing, let's start by posing some fundamental questions. How has China's military and economic rise been prevented or stifled by the US and its allies? How's China responding, and what's Malaysia's role in all of this? China is projected to overtake the United States both militarily and economically by 2030, which is why the US has been working for decades to curb its growth. But how? One, through military means. The Indo-Pacific region has become a focal point of US military strategy. Over the past few years, the US has refocused its military presence in the region, deploying more naval forces, advanced air assets, and strengthening military partnerships with key regional players. This strategic shift, often referred to as the Indo-Pacific rebalancing, is aimed at containing China. At the center of this rebalancing effort is the increased deployment of US naval forces. The US Navy has ramped up its patrols in the South China Sea under the pretext of conducting freedom of navigation operations to provoke China. In addition to naval forces, the US has increased its deployment of advanced air assets in the Indo-Pacific. Fighter jets, bombers, and reconnaissance planes now operate from bases in Guam, Japan, and other strategic locations, conducting regular patrols and surveillance missions. A key aspect of the US Indo-Pacific strategy is its network of its so-called allies in the region. A key aspect of the Indo-Pacific strategy is its network of so-called alliances in the region. One of the most significant alliances that has emerged is Quad, an informal security forum that brings together the United States, Japan, India, and Australia. The Quad is essentially the Asian version of NATO. Beyond the Quad, the US has been militarizing the Philippines and South Korea. The US-Philippine Defense Alliance, for example, has been revitalized through increased joint exercises, the rotational presence of US troops, and agreements on base access. Currently, the US has 9 military bases stationed throughout the Philippines. The US-Korea alliance, formed during the Korean War, includes more than 28,000 US troops stationed in South Korea. Its dual purpose is to counter North Korea and curb China's influence. Aside from using South Korea, Japan, India, and the Philippines to contain China, it is also using China's weakest point, Taiwan. Taiwan stands at the forefront of the US efforts to contain China. Taiwan, a self-governing island, has long been a focal point of tension between the US and China. Notice that Taiwan and the US are located on different continents, yet the US is somehow involved. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province and has not ruled out the use of force to achieve unification. The US is also trying to curb China's growth through economic means. The trade war that began under the Trump administration in 2018 marked a major shift in US trade policy. The US implemented significant tariffs on various Chinese products. Before the tariffs were imposed, the US was facing a trade deficit with China, which reached a high of $419 billion in 2018. The Trump administration argued that China's export-focused economy benefited from government subsidies and policies that favored local companies over foreign ones. In response to the tariffs, China responded by imposing its own tariffs on American goods, impacting US agricultural exports like soybeans, pork, and wine. China's economy, which heavily relies on exports, encountered serious challenges due to the tariffs. Another strategy the US is adopting is changing global supply chains to reduce reliance on Chinese manufacturing. This effort mainly aims to reduce China's power in global trade by encouraging American companies to find new places for manufacturing. A significant part of this strategy is directing investments to Southeast Asia, where countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia are becoming popular alternatives. India is also a key focus in the US strategy, with its large workforce and government programs like Make in India, designed to boost manufacturing. To further limit China's growth, the US has placed strict sanctions on major Chinese tech companies like Huawei and ZTE. The goal of these sanctions is to weaken China's ability to develop its technology further. In addition to sanctions, the US has imposed significant export controls on critical technologies. This means that the US restricts the sale of important tech products to China, especially advanced semiconductors and technologies related to artificial intelligence. These technologies are crucial for China's military modernization and its ability to compete globally. By controlling the export of these technologies, the US aims to slow down China's progress in these areas. Furthermore, many countries that are allies of the US, like the UK, Australia, and Japan, have also decided to ban or limit the use of Chinese technology firms, especially Huawei, in building their 5G networks. So how does Malaysia balance between the two superpowers? Malaysia plays a crucial role in the ongoing competition between America and China due to its important geographical position, strong economic ties, and influence in Southeast Asia. Malaysia's strategic location is significant. The country sits along vital shipping routes in the South China Sea, making it a key point for maritime trade and military presence. This geographical advantage is essential for both America and China. In terms of economic relations, Malaysia maintains a robust trade relationships with both superpowers. China stands as Malaysia's largest trading partner, while the US is a significant investor and trade partner. Malaysia has historically followed a non-aligned foreign policy, which means it strives to keep good relationships with both America and China.